Have you ever watched Dr. Strangelove? If you haven't, do yourself a favor.
And after you've done that, report back to me.
What you need to know is that it's a Stanley Kubrick movie from 1964 in which the world ends with nuclear annihilation. And it's a comedy.
Gentlemen, you can't fight in here. This is the war room.
Kubrick is a master, a monument in the cinematic landscape. Let's take a closer look at how this artist managed to pull off turning his biggest fear into one of the finest political satires of the 20th century. There's an enigmatic page in one of the notebooks from the Stanley Kubrick archive, a sort of written brainstorm where Kubrick lists alternative titles for his film. Wonderful Bomb, Dr. Doomsday or How to Start World War III Without Even Trying, My Bomb, Your Bomb, The Bomb and Dr. Strangelove or How to Be Afraid 24 Hours a Day. In the end, he chose Dr. Strangelove or How I Learned to Stop Worrying and Love the Bomb. But why? And what does it mean? In order to understand what Kubrick was possibly trying to convey, one must first try to understand Kubrick himself. It's obvious he's fascinated by war. About a third of his filmography uses it as a setting. But it seems like it's not war itself that intrigues Kubrick, but the impact war has on individuals. The patriarchal military culture, how violence affects human behavior, and more specifically, the fear of death, which is perhaps the film's central theme. It's a man trying to deal with a situation that is outside of his control. An extremely logical man trying to find logic in a situation that makes no sense to him.
Well, I was interested in whether or not I was going to get blown up by an H-bomb. And then when you read the literature in the field, your first reaction, superficially, is you're very encouraged because you suddenly realize there's this whole body of thought that's gone into the whole thing. And then as you read on and become more involved, then you begin to realize that all these things lead to very paradoxical outcomes. I suppose this was the most thematically obvious thing about Dr. Strangelove was the paradoxical outcome of any particular line of thought.
And what's the paradoxical outcome of nuclear war? That the means used to achieve peace can end up causing your own death.
I think people have forgotten how frightening the Cuban Missile Crisis was. And Stanley was a bit of a forerunner to Google in research. He really wanted to know everything and scared himself to death and became more and more paranoid. He just really said, it's ridiculous. Why aren't we running away? Australia, maybe?
While doing research, Kubrick reads over 50 books devoted to the nuclear dilemma. The director of the London Institute of Strategic Studies suggests that he reads Red Alert, a novel. The author, a former lieutenant in the Royal Air Force, describes a detailed and plausible catastrophic scenario. Kubrick immediately buys the rights, intent on turning it into a film. In his mind, the consequences of a nuclear conflict are deathly serious and are far too abstract for the general public.
The problem to begin with is that people do not react to abstractions. They only react to direct experience. But that the atomic bomb is as much of an abstraction as you could possibly have. I mean, it's as abstract as the fact that you know that someday you'll die.
This fear of death, the film's central theme, is directly linked to the very idea at the center of the nuclear dilemma, deterrence.
Deterrence is the art of producing in the mind of the enemy the fear to attack.
Basically, I won't attack you because I know that if I attacked you, you'd attack me back. And with a weapon as destructive as the nuclear bomb, attacking you would be tantamount to suicide. Deterrence is the delicate balance that exists between wanting to win and wanting to survive. And since maintaining this equilibrium is practically impossible, the risks of deflagration caused by miscommunication or by a bad judgment call are very high, not to mention technical mishaps. And what's depicted in the film is the inherent absurdity of these immeasurable risks. In an interview with Playboy in 1968, Kubrick said, "The most terrifying fact about the universe is not that it is hostile, but that it is indifferent. But if we can come to terms with this indifference and accept the challenges of life within the boundaries of death, our existence as a species can have genuine meaning and fulfillment. However vast the darkness, we must supply our own light." And the light which Kubrick found to offset the nuclear dilemma? Humor. Adapting the realistic ideas of the novel, Kubrick and his collaborators come up with a ton of comedic ideas that they discard at first, finding them ludicrous and too laughable. But as the work progresses, they eventually have to face the facts. The rejected ideas are truer and more evocative than anything serious that they can come up with. When asked about the film's tone, Kubrick pushes on. Why should the bomb be approached with reverence? Reverence can be a paralyzing state of mind. For me, the comic sense is the most eminently human reaction to the mysteries and the paradoxes of life.
The Doomsday Machine is designed to trigger itself automatically.
But surely you can disarm it somehow?
No, it is designed to explode if any attempt is ever made to untrigger it.
Automatically?
It's an obvious comic trick, Mr. President. We're wasting valuable time. Look at the big boy. They're getting ready to clobber us.
Roger Ebert explains the humor in Dr. Strangelove. A man who wears a funny hat and who knows it isn't funny. A man who wears a funny hat and who doesn't know it is funny. Kubrick doubles down on ridicule by adding a layer of sexual connotations throughout the film. Phallic symbols, coitus and ejaculation metaphors, it's all in there, culminating with perhaps the greatest penis joke in film history, pornography included. Works of art have the ability to capture the spirit of their times, and in Dr. Strangelove, or How I Learned to Stop Worrying and Love the Bomb, Kubrick made the abstraction of the nuclear dilemma feel real. Since then, no nukes have exploded, but a lot has happened. So here's the question. What film or TV series do you think will best represent the era we live in now?
Hi guys!
Hey.
Can't wait to discuss your answers in the comments section. Maybe it will inspire a future video. Who knows? Maybe.
Speaking of what's coming next, we're working on a really cool collaboration. We can't talk about it just yet, but we really look forward to sharing that with you. It's part of Observatoire Studio, our production branch. We do editing, writing, illustration, motion design, all that cool stuff. Until then, please like, subscribe, stay curious, and thank you for watching.
Hope to see you soon.